I'm Rihanna Beg, Editor-in-Chief of Machine Design. I'm joined today by Todd Martensen, Chief Commercial Officer at Ascential Technologies, who kindly agreed to give us a state of the industry, or a check-in, if you will. Today, we're focusing on MedTech. Todd, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Rihanna.
So I'd love for you to just set the context for us. Tell me about a little bit about the company and what it is that you do.
Right. Yeah. Ascential Technologies is a company that's been formed by a combination of 7 different companies over the last few years. We're owned by private equity firm AEA. And over the last year, putting these companies together, we've not only aligned the company to be able to serve our customers, but we've also been able to effectively rebrand ourselves into a company called Ascential. And we have a parent company, Ascential Technologies, with 3 divisions. And those 3 divisions are the automotive group, the industrial group, and the medical and life sciences group. And then within that medical and life sciences group, we have 3 subdivisions there. And those divisions are our automation, our medical device group, and our life sciences group within there. And that's probably what we'll talk more about today.
Yeah, I'm absolutely interested in your medical and life sciences group. I think I was hoping that you'd break it down for me a little bit. There's some interesting areas of interest that I read through your press release, one of which was innovations in cell therapy techniques and technologies. Tell me a little bit about your work in this area.
Yeah, I'll back up a little bit and talk about who and what we are. So with Ascential MLS, our focus really, and one of our messages is impossible done. So what we do is we combine our R&D group, our full manufacturing group, and we've got a complete automation group. And we combine those 3 groups in order to work with our partners in order to put together solutions that not only allow us to help co-develop products with our partners, but also help them scale those solutions that they've created. And that scaling can be in manual manufacturing, but it also can be in automated manufacturing. And so when you talk about cell therapy or gene and cell therapy, we consider that one of the most high growth and brightest areas in the market. Obviously, the opportunity to cure cancer is something that the whole industry has been going after for 30 years, and we believe that the cell and gene therapy area is really giving the opportunity to actually cure cancer. So, in addition to doing things from an impossible done standpoint, we also really attack projects with our partners that are really highly complex and hard to accomplish. And we certainly think the exercise in cell and gene therapy allows us to do that. So we're partnered and aligned with several customers that are high growth cell and gene therapy companies. And our expertise that goes back 40, 50 years allows us to be able to not only do the R&D, but also do the scaled manufacturing. Does that answer your question?
It sure does. I mean, I'm looking for your high level overview on what it is that we can expect when I go to your website. What am I going to learn from what you do? That's the first thing. And then there's another area that I wanted to touch on, which was the precision manufacturing of medical devices. This is also an area that is very interesting to our audiences.
Right. So, yeah, particularly in cell and gene therapy, that's an area that we consider our life sciences group. And our life sciences group, again, has been a combination of several companies that we put together over the last 5 years. And that life science group is used to working with life science companies that are doing these types of innovations. So we not only have the ability, and you can see on our website, we not only have the ability to do the R&D with our partners, but also scale that manufacturing in-house. And those a lot of those products are instruments that don't necessarily need, let's say, FDA approval, but several of those products are now inching into the FDA approval process. Now, our company provides the opportunity with FDA registration to build those products either in our manufacturing facilities or also be able to assist our customers in doing that. So we are able to do that as a service to our partners, our customers. In addition to that, because we have a heavy advantage with automation, we can also help automate those processes. And that gets into some of the trends that are happening these days in medical devices and life sciences of onshoring, nearshoring, because of all the activities that occurred over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so speaking of onshoring and nearshoring, I'm really curious to understand then what are the big challenges for you this year? What are the opportunities for a company like Ascential
Yeah.
What should your partners be looking out for this year?
Yeah, so we really look at, our challenges are our customers and our partners' challenges. And as we've all lived through COVID over the, 3 or 4 years ago, and the subsequent challenges in in being able to get materials in the supply chain shortages that occurred, as well as tariffs being added by the US and other governments, it really became clear that the old way of doing manufacturing, that is, you innovate in medical and life sciences, you go you go offshore, you go to low cost regions, and you produce there, you do low cost supply chains, that needed to change a little bit because of the tariffs and because of some of the challenges that occurred during COVID. So a lot of the things that are happening right now with our partners are they're trying to strike that balance between producing their devices as low as cost as possible, but continuing to have a very good supply chain. So the onshoring or nearshoring of products coming back to the United States or the Americas is probably the hottest topic right now with our partners and how they're able to do that. So what you try to do as a partner is you try to thread that needle. You help them be able to do that because as you move a medical device, you can make changes at that point. And you try to see, as you nearshore back to the Americas, you try to look for ways to have them save money while they're doing that. Because clearly, from low cost regions into the Americas, the labor arbitrage is not as good. However, there's advantages that you also have, right? You don't have to have as long a supply chain. You don't have to have whip and process on the ocean. There's a lot of different things you do. So we work to tackle those challenges with our partners in order to provide them a solution. Another really big piece of that is automation, right? If a customer or partner is doing manual manufacturing of equipment, of medical devices and life science equipment, the ability to automate that removes the labor or percentage of labor from that. And that allows us to be able to deliver a better product oftentimes because you remove human error, but also at a lower cost because you're automating things. So those are the types of challenges we're working through with our partners and some of the solutions that we have and we can provide as a partner that can do all of those things for that.
Yeah, you touched on something that has me worried, and that is the how to do it. The how to do it. The answering is one thing, the idea and the intention is. It seems to me like it's a long-term game. For now, anyway, as things are coming back to the United States, can you talk maybe to a specific use case, a case study that you have, an example that you can perhaps illustrate how this actually works in practice?
Sure, because it's one thing just to say, hey, come back to the US and you can get lower prices, right? So we actually have a partner that has nearshored with us again because of confidentiality. I try to keep that name beyond behind the curtain. But I will say this. The partner needed to come back to the US and the product was a $10 million a year product that cost to them. And so they had the opportunity to come back. And what we were able to do is take an operation that had 50 people that were doing it in a low cost region. We were able to automate that device in order the different stations to be able to take the people that worked on the product down to 10. So when you think about that, the real life world of being able to take 50 down to 10 and be able to automate that allows a little bit of that labor arbitrage to be taken care of. In addition to that, they were able to save up to $3 million a year of WIP, of product that's in process, materials in process and the like, to be able to close the gap between the cost that they had prior and the cost that they were going to have nearshoring. In addition to that, the quality of the product improved. They were getting yields of more like 60 or 70% in the low cost region, first time yields of their product. We're able to raise that yield to 90%. So it is a story that you may not get exactly back to the cost or the price that you're looking for. However, you get many advantages being nearshored, having the opportunity to have higher quality of the product, which of course is the most important thing with our partners. And in addition to that, our partners are able to be closer to their product. And that's something that people have gotten used to. Partners have gotten used to having, 12 midnight or 5 in the morning calls to Thailand or to Asia. And now when we're in the same hemisphere here, they actually have a better quality of life in working with us as a partner and being closer to their product.
That's definitely something I'll be watching out, looking out for as we go through the year to understand how we're able to offer solutions to even small, medium-sized companies that have struggled over the years to be able to achieve exactly what you're laying out. So next week, you are going to be exhibiting at MD&M West,
Yes.
which is the B2B medical device trade show. Now, I know the show is co-located with three other trade shows. It really puts you in a great position because of the different verticals that you have. But your focus, I understand, is going to be medical devices for the show. Why don't you tell me, when I visit your booth next week, what will I expect to see?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. The focus is medical life sciences, but in the realm, and we also have customers that are life science customers as well. It's less of a focus, but there's a lot of life science customers that also come to the show. So the focus are on those two customer groups, but not only in engineering. So if you think of the three areas we really focus on with those partners, we think of the engineering aspect of how we can help them engineer better products. We also look at the scaled manufacturing with those partners. And the third area, which very few companies have all three of those that are displaying at the booth, is our automation. You know, as part of combining 7 different companies into Ascential, we combined three different automation companies into one, each of which had incredibly good market share and a great reputation. So we have combined 3 different companies into our automation group, and to have the ability to take our automation capabilities with the other two things I mentioned, which is scaled manufacturing and early R&D, we have the ability to do end to end with our partners like no other company does. And I think that that is what we're focusing on. We're really focused on meeting our customers and partners, because the end game to that is not only being able to nearshore like we talked about, but actually getting to market quicker. And in doing so, you know, one example of that is we worked with a partner doing all three of those things: early development, scaled manufacturing, and applying our automation solutions. Whereas they would have worked with 3 different companies, we were able to get them to work with us from an end-to-end solution standpoint and lower their time to market by 18 months. So we were actually able to get them to market 18 months quicker by working with one company instead of working with 3 companies. And we believe that's of high value to our partners. You know, in a time where capital is tight, where interest rates are higher, where the cost of money is higher, both with large companies and with small companies, being able to take the opportunity to lower their time to market by 18 months means they get to the market quicker, they establish a brand, and they're able to scale and make money a whole lot quicker.
That's those are great insights, and thank you so much. I definitely will be making my rounds next week and looking for more insights like yours, and comparing it to have a better understanding of what's out there. So I appreciate your insights today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.